Well, hello again viewers and welcome back. So we continue with our UK chain restaurant series today, but you know, I do wonder to myself why I bother do all this. It's not exactly going to set the algorithm on fire, when instead I could just be reviewing the most expensive fish and chips in London or the most expensive bakery in London and gain 10 times as many views. However, I am accused of being a bit of a contrarian at times. If that is what it takes to separate me from the utter circus of social media food reviewers, then so be it. If you are still watching, I'm standing outside a typical branch of CÔTE Brasserie. You will find one of these eateries in a major UK city or in a town that has been reimagined from periods of booming Britain gentrification. CÔTE Brasserie was once regarded as one of, if not the best chain restaurant in the UK. Tasty French food with good wine and a premium dining experience available to you and family at a modest price, regardless of whether you are in London or Liverpool. Just one thing though, I will not be filming at this branch as it's a little bit too close to home for me and I do want to be welcomed back here. So instead we'll be doing this here in southwest London in Wimbledon, the original CôTE Brasserie where it all begun in 2007. So I shall see you all inside by the table. And welcome to CôTE Brasserie in Wimbledon. So just a very brief story through the main menu, the a la carte. It is a Saturday lunchtime or late lunchtime. It's gone 2 o'clock in fact, and you can view the rest on the website if you want to delve into the details. And this is the seasonal specials, so you've got fairly local asparagus, wild garlic French toast and pan-fried salmon. So rather splendid so far. And in case you notice, there are no linen napkins during lunch service. This is quite normal with CôTE Brasserie. I do recall they only bring out the linen during evening dinner service. I'm going to make a bit of an exception in this chain restaurant video, and I've gone for a glass of wine this time to accompany the meal. So it's a glass of white in this instance. It's a Chardonnay from the south of France. No specific region, but it's from the south and therefore fairly or sunshine flavours and very fresh. Quick nose test. Lovely acidity, fruit in there. Very inviting. Anyway, let's give us a taste. So on behalf of CôTE Brasserie in Wimbledon, London, cheers, cheers. The freshness continues through onto the palate, so delightful and should go well with the main course. So I've also got some filtered water to go along with the meal as a standard part of the CôTE Brasserie offering. Another day, another cheese souffle. So in the back of my mind I am thinking of Wilton's and Kettener's, where I have some of their cheese souffle. So I wonder how CôTE Brasserie's own take fares up. Just remove this sprinkle thyme. Oh, that was hot. Okay, so let's have a first stab of this. And before I begin even, let me just rest my fork aside. There is some garlic cream to go alongside with the souffle. So I'm a little bit slow at the moment. I'm going to pour this in my second taste. Let's try the souffle on its own first, in its unsullied form. Here we are. If I was going to be a tad fussy, maybe a little bit more salt, as I'm a bit of a salt fiend sometimes. It's piping hot inside. I don't know if you can see the steam on there, but fresh out the oven. Another bite. Let's give this another taste with the sauce. Maybe a touch too much there. I would say out the 3 cheese soufflés, no, 4 in fact, I've had one in the Ivy also. So out of the 4, this is indeed the hottest in terms of temperature. But yeah, if it had a bit more salt, which I will address in a second, it's rather good. You know from this point when I cut into this angle, I'm going to do a fair bit of waffling, so if you want a bit more of a TikTok style food video, then switch away now. Alright, so where's the salt? So there's salt grinder here. Thankfully not too busy in here. I've booked a table at 2 p.m. Hopefully the peak rush of lunch service is out the way. For me, that's an improvement with the salt in there. There's not too much to elaborate on with simple cheese souffle. The egg, the cheese, cream, garlic, all the core components are in there. So classic, not being reinvented. Dare I say it, with the salt in there, I'll rank it above the Ivy, but only just a touch. Sorry, it's still hot. I think the cream actually helps too, so a little bit more. And this is going to be quite a short and sweet first course. Chardonnay goes well along with souffle, so gives us a little sip. Yeah, that works. I just love how food and wine can complement each other, enhance each other's presentation somewhat. Now, there's not much souffle left. I am getting through this fairly quickly. Maybe I should start doing a little tally, a scoreboard of all the soufflés that I have tasted on my channel, and put them in different orders of ranking. Yeah, one of my favourite bits is when it's baked into the bowl itself, so you've got the lovely crispiness on the base, extra flavour there. So there you have it, quick and easy. A newspaper once mused whether CÔTE Brasserie was nothing more than a posh Café Rouge, and they would be right, in a good way that is. Andy Bastardoni and Chris Benions both decided that London needed yet more French cuisine. The difference this time is that customers don't need to fully understand or read French to fully appreciate the menu on offer. If you wanted frog's legs, foie gras or escargot, you won't find that here at CôTE Brasserie. However, you will find familiar, crowd-pleasing favourites cooked to a much higher standard, closer to that found in France, more so than any other chain before it. Andy Bastardoni's track record includes a portfolio of restaurants such as Le Caprice, the Ivy and the legendary seafood eatery J Shiki. Sharing the same vision with friend and former chef Chris Benions, they both seeked out to deliver a bit more of a premium touch to go along with the casual and friendly French dining experience to the streets of Britain. The initial investment, the launch and the running of CôTE Brasserie also involved restaurateur Richard Caring and Nick Fideler. Initial public reaction was indeed positive, and 45 UK chains in, CôTE Brasserie successfully filled in a substantial gap between that of typical restaurants that you find in a UK retail park just a few units along from a branch of B&Q to that of more swankier settings where you'll find London-centric eateries such as Escargot. French fries or frites would be prepared and cooked on site along with most of the other items on the menu. And if ingredients could not be sourced locally, it would be flown in from specific regions of France to retain authenticity. Filtered water was always provided to customers to help keep the lunch bill reasonable. 2013 marked the end of the original CôTE Brasserie era, having undergone a succession of leveraged buyouts or LBOs under various different private equity groups. I could harp on all day about the pitfalls of LBOs and how it has blighted the UK high street and beyond, perhaps for another video for another time. From a diner's perspective, there will be a decline in standards. More and more food will be cooked off-site, portions will shrink, and even the French fries or frites would no longer be prepared and cooked on site and is more of the frozen kind. Costs soared for CÔTE Brasserie, and let's not beat around the bush here. A staggering £140 million of extra loan debt registered against CÔTE Brasserie, and as a result, cost-cutting manifested at the restaurant. Inconsistencies crept in as the business bloated up to 80 odd so restaurants. And this is despite investing millions of pounds in a centralised kitchen facility in Heston. To blame Brexit or the pandemic would be a rather lazy thing to do. During lockdown, CôTE Brasserie successfully utilised its centralised kitchen to mass cook ready-made meals that could be ordered and delivered to your door. And if you could argue for any positive aspects from having a centralised kitchen, and that perhaps it helped prevented CôTE Brasserie from sinking into its proverbial self. You know what I mean, as in COTE as in coast. As of time of filming, the current owners of COTE are the venture capitalist group Karari from Dubai, and don't ask me why. All I know about their track record is they once ran the biggest UK franchise of Burger King. Again, don't ask me why. A fillet of sea bream. I remember years ago they used to serve sea bream whole, which again, you know, if you're unless you're fussy about bones, it generally tastes better. It's got to appeal to the masses, I suppose, but of the sunshine ingredients, so your olives, your little tomatoes and baby potatoes as well. So yeah, they're kind of a very provincial style, and I believe there's some kind of more sun-dried tomato sauce on top. I will elaborate a bit more when I taste it. Anyway, here we go. Apologies for any loud chatter and sounds. It's a few families are eating here at the moment, as it is a family-friendly restaurant after all. Right, here we go. Again, to my slight disappointment, if I was going to be fussy, it is slightly overcooked. So, but it's still pleasant to eat, don't get me wrong. Let's try the new potatoes. Good flavour, sweet, comforting accompaniment to the fish. I don't know if you could catch the texture of the sea bream. There you go. And most likely the fillet is a farmed fish to keep costs down. Anyway, another bite. I'm just going to try a bit of this skin. I do love fish skin when it's crispy, and you've got a little bit of the sun-dried tomato dressing on top. Let's plough through the rest of the mains. That's a horrible phrase, isn't it? It's pleasant. It's a pleasant meal, honestly. Baby potatoes with tomato as well. Again, I did mention Provençal style, so the sweet and the acidity of the tomatoes along with your fish. Just the one fillet with this one. And sea bream isn't exactly a gigantic fish to begin with, so there is makings of cost cutting, the aforementioned cost cutting. The middle of the sea bream is actually cooked to perfection. So depending on which part of the fillet you're eating, it might be slightly overcooked, but perfect on other areas. That being said, for a lunch where you don't want to eat too much, you don't want to weigh yourself down middle of the day, then this would be a pretty good proposition, something to have. I'm liking the olives. It gives that extra element of pungence, a bit more going on the palate, so it counters the sweetness of the sun-dried tomatoes, the little cherry tomatoes, just standardly. I'm running out of ingredients to talk about. There is, I reckon, some chopped tarragon in the mix as well. Add that element of freshness. But it's a simple dish. I'm not going to over elaborate and make it more than it really is. Okay, some more potato. Despite my grumblings, I would happily have another plate of this. Maybe one for starter, one for mains. A little palate cleanser. It's good Chardonnay, and I'm tempted to have another glass, but I do want to remain sharp and lucid to finish this video. Okay, the final piece of fish. Nice knowing you. So this is the naughty side of the main a la carte menu, desserts. So quite a generous selection of offerings here to mull over, and also if you want to take it up another notch, you could always accompany it with cocktail or a glass of champagne or Cremant, and dessert wine or port, brandy, tea and chocolat chaud. Decadent French hot chocolate served in a teapot with a cup of whipped cream. Oh. Alright, so I'm just going to have a little muse and pick a third and final course. And the third and final course is here, the creme caramel, also if you translate the official French name to English would be flan of eggs and caramel, of course with vanilla flavouring and milk in the mix also, and I've gone for a dessert white wine also. Okay, so let's give this a taste. Low effort pudding. Abundance of vanilla, sweetness levels just spot on, and the lovely caramel sauce to bring it that warm toffee caramel notes. Yeah, splendid. So we're nearly at the home straight, but before I press on to give this dessert wine a taste, I'll put the name of the wine in the corner of the screen. I just struggling to pronounce it at home. The lovely honey apricot peach aromas. Superb. Okay, back to the desserts. I was supposed to have mentioned this during the main course, but I am using where does CÔTE go from here. My personal opinion, perhaps CÔTE needs to go back to where it came from in order to move forward. And what I mean by that is the restaurant managers and the head chef of each individual branch of CÔTE Brasserie its own artistic license, its own freedom to perhaps bring in local specialities specific to its respective restaurants, using local ingredients of course, and cook it on site. And then retain the centralised cooked items in the more affordable fixed menu, perhaps. Just a suggestion, and maybe that will bring back a sense of identity. Alright. Creme caramel are one of my favourite puddings when you just have a little bit of room left. Calorific wise, it's pretty good. 275 calories I've been told, so yeah, not too bad, is it? I just realised the starter and the pudding dessert is egg based, and I come from a little bit full circle here. Okay, so I'm going to finish this dessert on my own camera, and I'll see you outside for the wrap up. Long.
Le charme des choses désuètes, des enfants qu'on fait à la main, le goût des vins aux tables d'hôtes, où l'on déjeunait pour 3 francs, une valse à 3 temps, du bel amoureux.
So there you have it. That was a typical CôTE Brasserie experience, but we do know it could be so much better. I do hope that the current owners do understand what they have here and to allow the restaurants again to shine once more. So that about wraps it up. Thanks again all for watching, and I look forward to seeing you again in the next video. So till that time, you all take care now.